Eat, save, and be merry with low prices and same-day delivery from Amazon Fresh. Whether you're looking for sweet deals on holiday treats or your dream gingerbread house, outshine the tree with holiday deals delivered right to your doorstep. Prime members save even more with deals on thousands of grocery items and up to 50% off on weekly favorites. Celebrate the holiday season with savings and same-day delivery from Amazon Fresh.
Instacart's Deal Week is coming up from December 17th to December 23rd. That means you can get up to 25% off holiday gifts for the whole family from stores like Best Buy, Bath & Body Works, PetSmart, and more. And you can get delivery in as fast as 30 minutes. Just think of it as Instacart's little gift to you. And while we're on the subject, why not get a little something for yourself, too? Shop Deal Week from December 17th to 23rd and save up to 25% on gifts. Discounts vary. Minimum spend, maximum discount, and exclusions apply.
Jeffrey Dahmer, Ted Bundy, the Night Stalker. These names are infamous, but do you really know what drove them to kill?
In Mind of a Serial Killer, we don't just tell you the story, we break down the psychology behind it.
Follow and listen to Mind of a Serial Killer, an Odyssey podcast in partnership with Crime House Studios, available now on the free Odyssey app and wherever you get your podcasts.
One moment, a gift most humans never receive in a lifetime.
Stand by for action.
This is the Bob and Jeff Show, starring Bob Lutz.
What I do on this show doesn't matter. My legacy is cemented. I'm good with the listeners. They adore me. And what I say doesn't matter.
Jeff Lutz.
All you do is make it about you. During the show, I want to be available and accessible.
Excellent. 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Stand by for action.
Hello again, everybody. It is a Thursday edition of the Bob and Jeff Show here on KFH Radio, and it is a big Thursday. It's our annual Wichita Treasures show with our good friend, the one and only Brent Kemnitz, is here from Wichita State Athletics, longtime pitching coach during the heyday of Shocker Baseball, now in their athletic development staff. Brent, it's good to see you.
Yes, always good to be here.
I see you out and about on the town all the time on Twitter with some of Wichita's biggest dignitaries. It's nice that you're here today.
Well, it's my pleasure. Love it. As I was telling you right before we went on the air, I catch a lot of grief from good friends who give me so much of a hard time for the whole Twitter X post. But hey, in my world, I got to make it look like I'm out and about, and I am.
You are. You're
seeing
out
the
and
good
about.
people of Wichita, promoting. I'm the assistant AD for outreach and staff development.
Better reach out then, huh?
Yes, so I'm doing it. I'm getting out, seeing people, and still enjoy it.
And if you see Lily Wu out and about, you're going to make it known.
She knows that every time I see her and her boyfriend Steve Clark, who's a great guy, I actually, when we took the picture at Chester's a couple days ago, he was the one that took the picture. I said, Steve, we need to get you in here. He goes, no, I'm the photographer. And then Mike Pelpery happened to be there, so got him in the photo. Anything that's going to make me look like I know all the powerful people in Wichita.
No question about it. Well, we always look forward to this day, this time of year, this show in which we talk about, you've got a big list put together. I'm going to wing it. Jeff never goes out, and he lives in rural Andale. So,
I've got the longest list here, just right in my brain.
Later on today, we'll make our picks with Jason Duda and the big fella. But for the next hour and 20 minutes or so, we're going to talk about what makes this community special. What are the treasures of Wichita? We welcome your phone calls on the IHOP hotline at 869-1240. If you have an idea or we've missed something, but looking at Brent's list, he's not going to miss much.
No, it's all there.
A lot of this will be, with Brent, it will be
self-serving.
That's one way to put it. It will be people that he feels obligated to mention or places of business that he frequents.
What did he just say, though? He's outreach.
I'm outreach. I get out there in the community. Yes.
Let's start with one of the tried and trues, a Wichita treasure that...
Well, let's just go to what I did. Well, 2 nights ago I mentioned the picture at Chester's. So and I called Mike Pelfrey and Lily Treasures. They are for me.
I call her Mare Wu, but
okay, but it was
still call her
Chester's.
Lily over at Channel 12.
Yeah, it was after the hoop game, which was painful. And Wichita State basketball needs to be a Wichita Treasure for us to thrive. It was definitely a hiccup and a gut punch Tuesday, losing to Kansas City. I don't think anybody saw that coming after a tough second half at DePaul. Now we have K-State coming Saturday. So Wichita State basketball, to me, is a treasure. Kind of a tough road the last few days with K-State coming Saturday. But then you go to Chester's. I'm going to call it Chester's. It's a great steakhouse right there in the waterfront.
What else would you call it?
It's a treasure, for sure. And
it costs a treasure to eat there, but yes, it is a treasure.
Yes. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm kind of reenacting my last 2 nights out kind of as treasures. So last night we had the Jay Miller retirement party at Riverfront.
Were you invited to that?
Oh, goodness, no.
What? No?
It doesn't appear that I was, no.
I thought you worked there.
I do, and I thought I was...
Was it for workers? Was it invitation?
I had several people reach out to me. Jay called me several weeks ago and said he told me he was retiring, which didn't stun me, but I hate it because you talk about a Wichita treasure, Jay Miller. So they had the retirement party at Riverfront. We all know Lawrence Dumont forever, which for me was a treasure. I was one of the guys that was sad when they tore it down.
We were all sad, but
I don't think everybody was. But
no, I mean,
in this room, we definitely
were nostalgic. I don't know about sad.
Yes, and I'm a nostalgia guy. A lot of great memories. But, I mean, the plumbing was nothing worked.
No, it was bad.
It had to happen, okay? So I got to know Jay Miller early on, him and Lou Schweckheimer. Unfortunately, Lou passed away, and Jay was gone for, 3 years or whatever. Brought him back 2 years ago, and we hung probably till close to midnight with the crew there. First to Riverfront and then walked over to Monarch. Actually got a shot of Riverfront at night, which I thought was, you take a picture in December out over the field, downtown Wichita, which is a treasure. Special night, okay? Can we spend just a couple more minutes on Riverfront / Lawrence Dumont?
Well, I guess. What else do you have?
Well, it's just the memories there, the downtown vibe.
You don't have any memories there. You have memories at Lawrence Dumont.
Right, that's what I mean.
Are we saying Dumont now?
Dumont. I don't know. I'm repeating him.
Dumont. Hey, you get a little older, your speech kind of gets a little gravelly. And then went to Monarch.
And that's a good night.
How do you stay out till midnight?
Well,
I don't know how you do that.
That's a great question. That's a fair question. Trust me, this morning I was wondering that. But, I eat and I nurse whatever alcohol. It's not like I'm slamming them, A little vodka soda cran lasts me a couple hours.
Vodka soda crans now you're drinking.
Yes.
Huh? Well, there you go. Nothing wrong with that.
It's a little better than the beer on you.
The Monarch will certainly qualify as a Wichita treasure.
I think so.
And really,
little Jen Ray
into the Delano district. There you got Jen Ray mentioned. Let me mark down the.
Yeah, you got it encapsulates the whole Delano with Shamrock, Justin Brown.
Why don't you just make a bingo card and see if he hits all of them?
We should do that from now on. Let's have a bingo card.
Yes.
What names will Kemnitz hit? And I'm sure you guys would get most of them right. But Shamrock's certainly a treasure. They're on
I've been to the Shamrock in a couple years.
West edge of Delano.
I don't know if it's on the west edge of Delano or not. I don't know how far Delano.
Well, it goes to the Shamrock.
There you go. Delano ends at Seneca, but maybe
no.
No.
Shamrock's part. And I'm part owner. You know that, right?
Yes,
I shared that with you.
Wow.
Well, don't get crazy.
I don't think I knew that.
Well, it's a very small piece. Don't think I'm just sitting there just.
You're not the majority owner.
Raking in money.
Back in the day when I was frequenting night spots. As you know, the Shamrock is my favorite.
That's back when you were fun.
I was fun.
That kind of went away.
I was fun at one time in my life.
I haven't seen that in a few years, but you were fun.
I was fun.
Shamrock was one of our spots, and Merle's.
Love Merle's.
That was probably our two go-tos. Seems like we went to Pump House one time. Of Corey Ross, the owner there.
Well, they love us at the pump house. Both of us have
our jerseys are up.
Jerseys up there, and dude is about to get
Darren
one.
took care of me. I always butcher his last name.
Edelgren.
Yes, good man. He was at the function last night.
Well, I'm not. Jay, thanks for the invite, I guess. Well,
it was a who's who of Wichita. Maybe if you were nicer to people, it would.
Were you supposed to dress nice? Because that would have eliminated both of us.
No.
I can dress. Listen, it's fine. We wish Jay the best on his journey back to Texas, and glad he had a good going away. So, yeah, Riverfront Stadium, for sure, Wichita Treasure.
Right, and you hit the Delano, so we got in Shamrock.
Let's stay in that downtown area.
Yes, okay.
Because what they're about to do on South Broadway between Kellogg and Douglas, they've got a new school going in there. I can't think of it. It's a medical school, and it's going to transform that whole area.
Well, South Broadway, I'm going to have to defer to you because you're very familiar.
Yeah, I've done a lot of
South Broadway. You've spent a lot of time there, so I'm gonna. How many hotels, motels
I've
do
stayed
they have?
in all of them.
How many do they have? 70, within about a 3-mile stretch on South Broadway,
and good things going on in all of them.
Yes,
lots of
maybe you can pick us up on some
transactions,
of those spots.
Business being taken care of.
Absolutely.
But I mean that area is going to get a lot better. There's been a lot of property bought on North Broadway, and I think that's going to get transformed to some degree because it's an absolute mess. But speaking of North Broadway, a Wichita Treasure in my mind is the Artichoke.
Oh, 100%.
I love the Artichoke. Now, they have the new place out at 29th and Rock.
Yes.
But I love going to the Artichoke. It's a great feel. You know about feels.
I'm a big feel guy. So I don't get in there often, but it's right there by not far from Nifty Nut House.
Correct.
Which is definitely a treasure.
No question.
Thank God for the Nifty Nut House. It's half
Never
of my
been somehow, which is
I've never been to the Nifty Nut House.
Isn't that
That's half of
crazy?
my Christmas gifts.
I feel that. I've gotten
I am shocked by
gifts
that.
from there, but I've never been in there myself.
That is
that's criminal.
A literal candy land.
I know. Maybe that's why I shouldn't step inside, because I have more than a little bit of a sweet tooth.
Well, but you can get almonds and healthy nuts and stuff in there.
Yeah.
Brent, I'm surprised
Brazil
Brent
nuts.
doesn't have almonds with him right now.
Well,
Almonds aren't bad.
I think I do. But no, you walk in there, and what's crazy, you can walk in there, especially right now. It can be at 10 o'clock on a Monday morning, and it's packed. And it's an electric atmosphere. Like I say, I'm not kidding when it's like half of my Christmas gifts. Who's not going to like a little basket, a shocker basket for Christmas? But
it's a great place.
Absolutely.
No question.
But anyway, getting back on track, Artichoke, I don't really call that North Broadway. I guess it is. What's the cutoff?
It's Murdoch and Broadway.
Okay. But and then you go on North Broadway. I thought you were going to say Savoots. Italian.
Well, that's way down there.
Right.
And we all appreciate Savoots because Jeff went to school with one of the people that now runs Savoots. And you remember, and I remember, the great Pete Savoot.
Played for El Dorado
Yes,
Curs.
he did.
Curs of Kansas.
Yes, he did.
Who was the manager of that
Darryl
team?
Spencer.
Yes. I actually played against that team. 1977 Dodge City A's Jayhawk League team. And we went to El Dorado.
Who was your manager?
Piper was his last name.
Lee Piper?
It was, I think, one of his brother coached, Glenn Piper, his brother, coached at Northern Oklahoma Junior College.
Okay.
That was my one basketball offer. I got a basketball
You
offer.
got a basketball offer.
Yes. Now, it was kind of like, okay, you're going to have to play baseball and basketball. But it was baseball with the stipulation, we're only giving you this if you play basketball.
And that's in
So I can
Northern
say
Oklahoma and
Tonkawa. So I can say, yeah, I was recruited,
Which is a school of about 27.
Exactly.
I believe.
Yes. But Glenn Piper, it was his brother, and I forget his name, Roy, I believe. But I think I went back to when I became a pitching coach, one of the first things I did was call to all my former coaches and apologize because I was the guy that I hated. I nibbled too much. I didn't attack the zone.
That's how you pitch.
I pitched backwards. Needed to work more off my fastball.
Well, if you hated that, why'd you do it?
I walked too many people.
I don't think he knew at the time.
If I would have been my own pitching coach, I'd have been much better. So I worked off the things that I did and hated. And then all of a sudden, it's like attack the zone, work off your fastball, head in the count 0-1, 0-2, 1-2.
And the biggest one of all, keep the ball down.
Keep the ball down. That, as you know, you took the pitching coach, or not pitching coach, the coaching of baseball. And I knew two things: to keep the ball down and throw strikes.
That's genius.
That's where it ended.
Hey, by the way, before we move on to the Wichita Treasures, and we're going to get sidetracked here all day because Brent and I go way, way back, tell Jeff, because he doesn't believe anything I tell him, who was the person who got the 100% grade in the baseball class at Eugene? And was it JT or Lauren Hibbs did back in the day?
Well, your years, it would have been Hibbs.
I think it was Hibbs.
Yes. Gene taught it. I taught it. Hibbs taught it. I think I had the most of the topics.
You were there quite often,
yes,
as I recall.
But to answer your question, Kirk Siminoff.
Well, that's wrong.
I love that. Thank you.
Now, I think you did make 100%. You were a model student.
Thank you.
In that class.
Yes. Well, he was diligent. He was there. He asked good questions. It kept him entertained.
Well, I love baseball.
Of course.
I think
we all do.
Didn't we have him the Heskett?
Yes, we did.
See? Okay.
Is John Dryford still teaching that class out there?
It's not that class.
It's
John
a different
does more
class.
of
His is history of baseball. And I think a lot of our guys, and John's a treasure, by the way, John Dryford.
Absolute treasure.
Easy. But he has the history of baseball class, and I think our players took it thinking, oh, this would be a breeze. That's a tough class. I mean, they'll all tell you that he makes you accountable. You'll do reviews at his house, and it's not a soft toss.
By the way, we're going to have, you mentioned John Dryford, and it made me think of who are some of the treasures associated with League 42. In a couple months, on March 1, we're going to have a 70th birthday party for 4 people that have been active in League 42. I'm one of those, but the other 3 are Larry Dennis, an absolute Wichita treasure.
Okay.
Former North High All-State basketball player. Mike Gear,
absolutely,
undoubtedly a Wichita treasure.
The Mike Gear Baseball Park at Collegiate.
I've been at Collegiate forever. And David Jabara. And
he's on my list, by the way.
Who lives 3 doors down from me, and of course David's on your list.
He's my tax guy.
Well,
and
you're looking to get a cut.
A huge supporter of baseball and basketball,
no doubt.
Definitely a treasure. Is Mark Grogan not getting any votes?
Mark Grogan's not going to be 70.
So you got to be 70 to get this.
That birthday party is for the 4 of us that are either have recently turned 70 or are about to.
Gotcha. Okay, because I was thinking of some treasures you're forgetting about.
Well, Mark Grogan helps run our golf tournament.
Yes.
He's been outstanding.
Tireless energy.
Former Shocker baseball player.
Yes.
Let me mark him down. That's 4 names.
Is Clinton Yates getting any love?
Clinton Yates from ESPN, not a Wichita treasure.
Does it stun you that I became friends with him when he was in town?
I would use the term friends loosely. My guess is that you haven't had any contact with Clinton.
Well, there's been a couple texts, but
have there really?
Yes, Kenny.
What did you text him about?
Kenny Williams Jr. connected us,
right?
And
Clinton Yates from ESPN, by the way,
right? And he did a great story on League 42. Jackie Robinson, good work, and it was like
what did you text him about? I'm just curious.
I forget. But there's been some dialogue since he left.
That makes me laugh.
He loved coming into town. He got a Shocker baseball experience. Great column on League 42, which League 42, and we're kind of saying this, so obviously, Wichita Treasure. How many years now?
12.
12 years. Well, good for
12
you.
years.
No, and I say this every time I go there, it's kind of a feel-good situation when you go there, and then you got the indoor now, which is
got an indoor facility and a classroom.
Do you go there daily?
I go there quite often. Yeah, not maybe daily, but I'm there. I was there this morning. I go in the mornings.
Describe yourself as a CEO. Easygoing, drill sergeant,
very
loved,
easygoing,
hated.
Very easygoing.
Is he loved, hated, Jeff? What do you think?
I don't know. That's
not
tough.
Hated.
Probably somewhere in between.
Yeah, I don't know that loved would be the right word, but I think I'm not. When you're in a position of authority, which I had never been in before League 42 started, I was always an underling, a worker. That's an employee. But now that I am, quote unquote, in charge, you just try to be fair with people, right?
Yes, absolutely. Good work.
That's what you try to do.
Yes.
And
well, that whole area
people
down
who work hard, and
you got some Wichita Treasures right down there, McAdams Park.
McAdams Park is an incredible treasure.
I spent countless hours there recruiting. It's the first time I saw Mike Pelfrey pitch. He's a Wichita Treasure.
Well, it's the first game Wichita State baseball ever played.
Yes, I actually pitched there for Phillips University as a senior.
Why does it have to be about you all the
Well,
time?
that's because I got the mic in my hand. That's why. And then you got Westside Athletic Field, which is now the home of Friends University, which is a treasure. That and Newman. But I think they call it Hall of Fame Park now. Does that sound right?
Kansas Baseball Hall of Fame
Park. But it's still Westside to me. We already talked about Dumont. You got Westside or West Urban, I'm sorry.
Right.
How many games did you play? Did you play countless games at West Urban?
Yes.
Back in the day.
Good positive experience.
Yes, for sure.
We enjoyed West Urban. It was a little different then than it is now.
I remember you coaching back in the day. Jeff, what was your dad like as a coach?
Oh, goodness.
Painful?
We don't have enough time. It was not a treasurable experience.
That doesn't fit into the Wichita Treasure
Probably
show.
Not.
Well,
to do,
look at my win-loss record.
Yeah, you're welcome.
There you go.
That's what I got. I remember you came over to a game one night at Westside Athletic Field. And I got kicked out of the game at the home plate meeting before the game.
Good work.
And that was just in honor of you.
Not only do I not remember that, I don't remember playing. Oh, I guess we did play some games at Westside occasionally.
Well, that's when we were playing both West Urban and Senior Rookie. We did both.
Right, but weren't most of those games at McAdams?
No, there was a mix.
Okay.
As there still is today. Both of those fields still utilized for that.
Nice.
Let's take a break. We're just getting started. When we come back, we'll get more into some Wichita Treasures individuals. This is right up your alley now.
Soft toss me. I got a long list.
Long list of people that you regard
well, the
as a
collegiate
Wichita
crew,
treasure.
Before we go into break, you got Dave Hawley and Mitch Fiegel.
Yeah, well, we that's just a taste of what's to come. As this is our annual Brent Wichita Treasures show on KFH.
This is the Bob and Jeff Show.
Our guest, Brent Kemnitz, he's here for the Wichita Treasures show that we do every year right around Christmas. And Brent has a list. We're going to get into individuals who we regard as Wichita Treasures. Jeff, name one. You go first.
You just put me on the spot.
Who do you regard as a Wichita treasure?
So I've probably dealt with a lot of coaches over the years, and man, the first guy who came into my mind, and you're going to laugh at me because of the conversations we've had regarding him recently, but Joe Auer is a Wichita treasure.
Well, no question.
In my opinion.
Jeff's been sitting on a big feature story on Joe Auer for 2 or 3 years. He did the big interview with Joe Auer, but he hasn't gotten around to writing that yet. What are your thoughts?
Well, I'm a huge Joe Auer fan. And so while we're on Joe Auer, and I totally agree, great run in basketball. He was also an outstanding baseball coach.
Yes, he was.
And then he shifted to just basketball. But let's just stay on City League basketball for a minute, because City League basketball for me is kind of its own bucket of Wichita Treasure. I came here in August of 78, senior year, Ricky Ross, Antoine Carr. I bounced around watching games in the old gyms, and there's still a few, I guess. A lot of them are new, which probably needed to happen. But I would follow Ricky Ross everywhere he played. And we had Antoine Carr signed at Wichita State, watched him some. Used to play at Henry Levitt Arena in some of those matchups.
Had 8,700 people?
Yes, for a high school game. And so when you start talking City League, I mean, you can go on and on about the Goose Dowdy. Lafayette Norwood was for him. Now, he left and he went to KU, right?
Yes.
With
Darnell Vallon.
Which was
package deal.
That was right when I was coming into town. Calvin Alexander was on that great team. I actually played
still around.
I played summer baseball with him. Actually probably made his name in boxing.
I wish you'd have boxed him. That would have been a good story to
but
tell.
He was a good
He might
dude.
not be sitting here right now.
Ole and Alexander. You had Antoine Carr. You had James Carr. Who were the other two?
Doc Holden and Doc Holden and Darnell Valentine. That's the best starting five I've ever seen in high school basketball.
They beat Wyandotte by like 50.
Well,
right?
they beat them by a million, but they were up 25-0 in the state championship game before Wyandotte scored, and it was 58-17 at halftime.
Now, where was that game played?
In Kansas City.
Wow. Were you at that game?
I was.
Nice. Well, see, that was my first taste, and then right in that same time frame, you've got Aubrey Sherrod was a couple years later, Greg Dreiling, Carl Papke. I mean, you could go on, and I just fell in love with City League basketball. Tuesdays and Fridays for me were going to these games, and I know you were the beat writer. And was that your favorite beat, City League basketball?
I will, till the day I'm not here any longer, covering the City League from the years 1975 to 1981 was the highlight of my career. People think, wait a minute, you were a columnist. You got to cover the Shockers. You've been to Final Fours. You've done all this other stuff. And, yes, that was fun, and I loved it. But I covered the City League at its apex. There will never be another time when it's as good.
Well, I got a taste right when I rolled into town. Ricky Ross just got a text from Thomas Kosic, and he reminded me he's a treasure for sure, even though he lives in Malibu, Aspen, and Hawaii, but he makes plenty of trips into Wichita. Just a very passionate supporter. Played here in the 80s, but he reminded me Ricky's 64. And
Darnell Valentine, who graduated in 77, is 65. Ricky actually is a little younger.
Okay. But
tell Kosic to please be accurate.
Be accurate with his ages. But to me, I threw Connor Frankamp in there with Ricky because I got to know Connor when he was with Wichita State basketball. I followed him around at North High, too, just watching him play.
No doubt.
So I'd say Frankamp and Ross are right there for me as the best ever, but just a great run. Who's the top 5 coaches for you, City League history? You got to put Joe Auer in there.
Steve Eck, obviously.
Oh, absolutely. Still coaching over at Capon. Yeah. Okay.
Auer, Eck.
Is Ron Allen?
I love Ron Allen and Carl Taylor. I love those guys. They would probably be in my 5, and then you'd probably put Bill Heimbaugh in there.
Bill Heimbaugh for sure.
Yes.
Cy Sickles.
You love
Jeff
your Cy
hates that.
Sickles.
That's before me.
Cy Sickles coached at East in the 60s. And
well, now you got to talk Ralph Miller.
Well, Ralph Miller, but he wasn't there long enough. Cy Sickles was there. Cy Sickles coached Jamie Thompson, Kelly Pete, Terry Benton. I mean, the 60s, the 60s don't get enough credit.
Well, 60s is
basketball.
It's my time warp in life in Perry, Oklahoma that I always love to refer to. I was 4 to 14, priceless years. But yeah, in Wichita's 60s, that would have been with the guys you just described. That makes you coach guys like that. It makes you a really good coach.
Yeah,
Did you know that?
It helps. It helps your resume. Okay, so let's get into some other people who you regard as Wichita treasures.
Bucky Walters.
Bucky Walters, your stylist.
Well, Bucky retired. I had to find a new guy. So
I bet that was hard with your flowing hair.
So now I have a guy at Village Barbershop. It's over next.
Now, how does that work?
Next to the old Genie's. I was shopping around for a new stylist, and I walked in there. And I asked this guy, I said, hey, I explained that my stylist had retired at 85. It's the only one I've had since I've been in Wichita. So he took me on. It takes him like 6 minutes to do his work.
When you go in every time, does he say, hey, welcome, village idiot, since he's in the village?
Ah, nice.
Because that's a term you used to love to say.
I still use that term. Now, Bucky, I think I went to Bucky more for the entertainment value. He's a local comedian.
Yes.
And a good friend of all of ours. But it would take Bucky like 45 minutes. And if you ask Bucky a question, it was going to be another.
It's going to go on and on.
Yes.
That's
and honestly, that's part of the reason I went to Bucky. Because he still, Greer Jones went to Bucky.
Another Wichita treasure.
Yes, for sure. Love Greer. Bob Hull was another client of Bucky. So we're all kind of scrambling.
So everybody who has very little hair loved going to Bucky.
Yes, it was perfect. Let's take a minute for Greer, though. I mean, here's a guy that was an outstanding golfer, obviously.
Outstanding athlete.
Wasn't he a great football player?
Great football player, great baseball player, great golfer, played on the PGA Tour. Has a granddaughter now who looks like she's going to be the next big thing in local golf, so we'll see.
Nice. Okay, the Candle Club.
Candle Club, not a person.
Well, that's
but a place
I'm leading into that. You've got Judah Craig, who runs the Candle Club, treasurer. You got the primary owner, Steve Root. Can we spend a minute on Steve Root?
Go ahead. Jeff knows him pretty well.
He's a Kansas Baseball Hall of Fame guy. Owned the Wingnuts. Just as good a guy as you're going to get. But the whole Candle crew, you got Nate Robertson, you got Gary Osterman. It's a very who's who group of local treasures.
There you go.
Do you guys ever make it in the Candle Club?
I've been there maybe twice.
Yeah, we're not. Here's what you have to understand about us. We like our homes. We like our little dogs and cats and wives and things like that. Are a little more traditional than your lifestyle.
You don't get out into the local clubs?
Not as much.
Not like I used to, Brent.
So the Cowboy. I mean, that was a treasure.
That was a treasure. What about what's a treasure now? The Cowboy was a treasure.
He said he's a nostalgia guy. Let him have his.
Yes, thank you, Jeff.
I love the nostalgia, but that's 40 years ago.
Well, lettuce was if we're talking 40.
Lettuce.
Fridays, lettuce, pogos. I mean the College Inn.
Yes.
Craig Bauer. Craig Bauer ran the College Inn.
Bauer,
his dad,
guy.
Dwight, owned it. But those are great memories. The Wichita State football team had a reunion back in September, and Kevin couldn't be there. He was off, so he asked me to take his place. Well, I took a totally different approach than Kevin would have. Kevin would have actually been professional and had slides and talked about the future of the university and things that matter. All I did was told old football stories. Okay? It was beautiful. I mean, Joe Williams, the 67-yard field goal.
67-yarder.
Yes. He was there. He was Jumpy Gathers was at the event.
How many of those folks, now we've not had football here for almost
86.
40 years.
I was at the last game.
How many of those folks were still lamenting that?
The old football days?
Yeah.
Oh, that was a group of alums.
But I mean, telling you, it's, some of those guys are still not happy about that.
Right. I mean, well, you had a room of guys that, it's not fair to say everybody. Somebody asked the question, okay, is it on the radar to get football back? Well, the answer is no. But I feel like Jay Hull, who was kind of MC, gave
Wichita Southeast
High School. I felt like he gave a good description of why it's not feasible, at least at this point. But you talk football in those days. Dennis Cavalier was the Southeast guy. Eddie Crewell.
Jim Davey before him.
It was a great group, and they had a lot of great athletes on that team. Kevin Clinton, quarterback and also pitcher, went on to
You're
KU.
jumping around more than normal.
Well,
It's a lot.
It's called with it. It's age. Okay.
He's got his list.
Yes.
He does have his list, but boy, I got to pay attention.
I'm not even sure you've referenced your list at this point.
I don't think so
Very
either.
much off the cuff.
I'm kind of on a roll. Scott Martin, have we talked about him yet?
Wonderful guy. Played against sports.
Yes.
Former Shocker.
Isn't he the head of the Goddard Complex?
He is, and West Urban and Southwest Boys Club.
Nice.
How many former Shockers are around in businesses? I know Adam McCullough was doing a thing for a while. Are there a lot of guys who are still in town with businesses, or is that?
Yeah, I hit on every single one of them for something. It's like, all right, we need
give 'em
to
the free
get
pub then.
We got to get you to get a foursome. We got to get you to buy a table. I mean, Jason White's very prominent in the aircraft.
We love Jason
business.
White.
Yeah.
Jason White, a longtime listener to this show.
Yes, he will jump in some. Spike Anderson listens. He'll be upset if I don't mention him.
Absolutely.
He actually sits courtside.
Todd Novascone, who we both know, says you mentioned the Why Not.
Right
bar
there,
right
yes.
up to east of Wichita State used to be there.
Well, you're talking it. You got to talk Cedar. You got to talk Flicker. You got to talk Street Lights. You got to talk McNasty's. All treasures right there around the Wichita
right
State
around the campus.
Yes, and Kirby's. Do you still go to Kirby's
I haven't
2
been
or
to
3
Kirby's
times a
in
week?
a long time. I'm not living there anymore. I just
How many times do you go out to cocktail lounges a month?
0.
How about you, Jeff?
As much as I used to, which is never.
Wow. Well, see, my job dictates that I get out and see people.
Sure it does.
I got to be seen.
Right, no question.
Yes.
And
That's
we're
why.
better to be seen than in a dark bar.
Yes.
Brent Kemnitz with us for
Popularized.
our annual Wichita Treasures show. And, we have both been to see the Eagles at Intrust Bank Arena. Certainly that is a Wichita treasure.
I just sold my Eagles
We
ticket.
fought long and hard to get that place built. What's
Yeah.
that?
I just sold my Eagles ticket for February at the Sphere.
We'll talk about that another time.
Okay, we'll talk about it another time.
Hey, we went to the Eagles in St. Louis. What year
did.
was that?
Oh, my goodness.
94-ish?
Was it that?
Riverport.
Yeah, probably 94.
Riverport.
Probably
Amphitheater.
94. David Chad was with us.
Yes. See, you got his name.
One of us didn't go to the concert.
Your dog is like is messing with my
Our
cord.
dog is being a little bit of a pain, but that's okay.
Yeah, dogs.
She's a sweetheart.
Dogs get a pass, but you talk interest. I think Sports Daily should take credit for getting that built. Me, you, and Bruce Hurdle pumped that up for years. The vote initially was a no.
Right. Well, I did. I mostly pumped it up in my as a columnist
When you wrote for the Eagle Beacon,
the Eagle Beacon. That's correct. Yes,
which
that's
is a treasure.
The evening edition.
Yes. But I remember that being a topic for years, and it got voted down, and then it got back on the docket. And what was the opening? 2010?
2009.
Okay. And it is a treasure. I remember the first event, I think I went to maybe George Strait, and I remember thinking, okay, Wichita's arrived. This is a big time, 15,000.
Well, we have that. We have Riverfront Stadium now. I mean,
a lot of good stuff. And I was talking to the people downtown last night. There's going to be stuff around there in the next few years. Restaurants, night
that's
spots.
part of that South Broadway explosion you're about to see.
That's awesome. Anytime you can pump some into downtown, I'm a fan. I just think it's healthy.
And as a guy who still gets out almost every night.
Exactly. Well, I tell everybody I'm a twice a week guy. That doesn't mean I'm out crushing drinks 2 nights, but I'm usually out at least once, maybe twice a week. I think it's important in my world. And like tonight, my daughter is here back from KU. I just got a text, lemongrass.
That's where you're headed.
That's where they want to go, so I'll probably try it. It's right down there, not far from Pump House.
Right.
And so we'll probably go to dinner there tonight.
Well, good for you guys.
That'll be good. But along the Intrust, you got the casino. Now, we all know that's not Wichita, but you got Cotillion. You've got the Wave. You got
the Orpheum Theater.
The Orpheum, that's what I was kind of drawing a blank on. But as a guy that has sold Wichita since 78, there's plenty to sell. I mean, there's 500,000 if you take the Metroplex. But Wichita is a community, and I say this all the time. When people come here, they don't leave. They stay here. That's our biggest selling point. But I always say you'd be stunned at the acts that roll through Wichita. Now, Intrust or the casino maybe get the latest, the Taylor Swift, the George Strait, the Garth Brooks, whatever. But you go to a Cotillion, you'll get Three Dog Night. You're laughing. What a great band. It's my favorite in the 70s.
They are awesome.
Yes.
And they're coming to the amphitheater.
See?
In Andover in the spring. I'm sorry, in the fall. I think next September with the Little River Band.
See?
But it's just...
Are we the only two people that know who Three Dog Night?
No, we're not, but it just strikes me as funny.
Well, I saw Clay Walker and Tracy Lawrence at the Cotillion a couple years ago.
Cotillion's a great venue.
The Guess Who rolled through here.
I wish I'd have seen that.
Yes.
Did you see it?
Yes.
Where were they?
Well, it was a place on Rock Road. Burton Cummings was not with them, but it was one of the little... I remember thinking this little... I'm drawing a blank on the name of it. No way that Guess Who is playing here. But to get back to my point, there's a
Temple Live.
There's something for everybody at the venues here in town.
Yes, even those we can remember. Okay, back to individuals. You're not getting nearly as deep into some of the people.
Paul Sulentrop.
What
I already mentioned Kirk Siminoff, but Paul Sulentrop,
a Wichita treasure.
Absolutely.
Oh.
He's my
and
voice.
Paul would laugh at this. He's
my voice of reason. He
is in strategic communications at Wichita State. He's such a Wichita. I need to explain who you're talking about, but go ahead.
That happens sometimes.
Everybody loves him. And then the guy that is my mentor, Alex Johnson. The whole Johnson family. You got Sean, who's assistant GM for the Minnesota Twins.
Right.
And I get it. He's not in Wichita, but he's from Wichita. Treasurer. And Alex Johnson, he's my boss, so to speak, in the athletic department.
Jeff played baseball against him back in the day.
Sounds right.
He was with Jack Land.
Yeah, he was a rebel.
And then if you go with the athletic department of Wichita State, we have
here we go.
We got Chris Lamb. We got Steve Rainbolt.
Be careful now. You're going to forget somebody.
Well, I'm going more with the tenured people.
Okay.
So that keeps me safe.
In other words, the people who matter.
The people that have been there like 20-plus years.
Trying to get you in trouble.
No.
Yeah.
So I'm going to stop there because we have a lot of new coaches that have been there that are very successful. But when you talk about those two, it's 20 years
Chris
plus.
Lamb, Steve Rainbolt. Hard to argue.
Yes, for sure. And
I think you'd have to now throw Christy Bredner.
Well, she was in my mind, and I can get by with that because she's been there a while. Wonderful coach, wonderful person. So just a lot of great things going on. But then you start talking about, okay, the athletic world in Wichita. We mentioned Dak. We mentioned Joe Hauer. Who are the baseball people that are still out there? You got Charlie Ebright.
Charlie Ebright at Bishop Carroll, head baseball coach.
Yes. You got Rocky Helm. Over in Mays. I like to go to people that have been here a while, and that kind of gives you a little, you can dig in a little bit with those people.
How about, we haven't mentioned somebody who pulled off a big upset Tuesday night back at Bishop Carroll, Dale Faber.
I'd love Dale.
An absolute Wichita treasure.
Now, wait a minute. Is he coaching again?
At Bishop Carroll.
He left Friends?
Like 3 or 4 years
still working there in development. trying to take some of the money you're trying to get.
Well, exactly.
But
we're
Dale,
all, and
Dale
you are too. We're all grinding on
and
the
his
same
top
people.
assistant is Chris Davis.
Well, Chris is a treasure for sure.
Chris
and Dale Faber's a treasure. I did
how about
not.
Weston Sharts, our friend at Capon.
No question.
You talk about a coaching staff. You got Weston Sharts at Capon. You got Steve Eck and Mike Pelfrey's a baseball coach.
Now Weston has never won a state title, but I don't
like to thank.
I don't hold that against him.
No, absolutely not. That's why you brought it up.
I love Weston Sharts. I
hope you heard that.
I tell him all the time. He's that guy you still pull for because he's what I call old school. I feel the same way about Chris Davis, although Chris isn't a head coach now, but it's good to see he's still involved. Is this Dale Faber's first year back?
First year back at Carroll. They beat Capon the other night. Big upset. So, yeah, big win.
I don't think they'd call it an upset. I talked to our friend Chris Davis the day of that game, and he said, I think we got a chance.
Upset. My sources tell me that it was an upset.
Was that at Capon?
That was at Carroll.
Okay. Well, here's the deal. Dale Faber, when he took the development job at Friends like 3 years ago, reached out to me. I actually went over there 2 or 3 times, and I said, dude, you're going to kill in this because people love you in town. He's got a very real demeanor about him. And, in fact, we play them, and I was going to reach out to him to, see if I could connect with him. But I guess I live in a closet. I did not know he's coaching at Carroll. It makes me happy. That's good.
We've talked about it on this show.
I don't listen to your show.
Apparently not.
So that's probably the reason.
Why don't you have this show on your radio in the middle of the afternoon?
I listen to you.
You're probably napping.
Well, my nap's from 12:30 to 1. So
you have a couch in your office now?
No, I go home. I go to lunch around 11. I eat quick. If I'm with a donor, it's longer. But if it's just me, I can get in and out. Like today, Livingston's Diner, definitely a Wichita Treasure.
Oh.
Okay. John Shaft, the owner, write that down. And then I go get a quick nap. If you go over 15 or 20 minutes, so it's counterproductive. And then you're just dreary. But I do have my amino energy drinks to give me a little jolt.
Another Wichita Treasure.
Yes. But anyway, 2 to 4, I do try to get out and drive around. I listen to you until you grind on Jeff, and then I turn it. So I usually...
That's a ridiculous...
I'd listen for about 15 seconds.
Jeff grinds on me more than I ever
That's
grinded
false.
on Jeff.
When you start grinding on him, I'm like, all right.
What's your relationship like with your daughter?
Let's see.
Will it be,
let's see
hi,
what...
sweetheart, how'd Calm 3
100%.
go? Or, is that how it is?
100%.
It's just always flowery and...
I turn it and see what Gottlieb has to say.
Really?
As soon as you start grinding on Jeff. I start with you, okay? But when you just... It's like, shut up, Jeff. You got nothing. It's like, all right.
People love that about this show.
Okay, well...
Why have we been on 9 years?
How can I argue? Well, that's what I was getting ready to say. I got to give you props.
They must.
You've been on for a minute.
The give and take is what makes this show unique, plus our attention to things that are local. And that's why this show is the best show in the market, and it is a Wichita Treasure.
Wow.
There you go.
I don't know if I'd go that far, but let's wrap up hour number 1 on that.
There you go. We'll take a break.
Giving yourself some love.
We've got another segment yet to come with Brent Kemnitz.
Let's get into burger places and restaurants.
You still haven't done enough individuals, but we can do burger places, restaurants. That'll be our focal point when we come back. This is Bob and Jeff on KFH.